And tonight on our Great American panel, she is a Republican Congresswoman from the state of Minnesota. Michele Bachmann is here. He is a world-renowned civil rights leader and the president of the National Action Network, the Reverend Al Sharpton. And rounding out the panel tonight, American rock legend Meat Loaf is with us. All right, you're a rock star.
Before you start,
go ahead, take over the show.
Okay, I will, thank you. So anyway, before you start, I just want you to know that I have lynched the person who showed that plate of meatloaf at the top of the show.
Why? Why?
You don't do that to me. I mean, your show would not allow me to put underneath my name, guy with weird name, and then you show a plate of meatloaf? Or I wanted quiet but opinionated. You didn't like that
either. You ever go to Cracker Barrel? Meatloaf's my favorite dish.
Well, that's fine at Cracker Barrel, but this is a Sean Hannity show. Come on.
All right, let me ask. All right, we have a diverse group here on this panel. And you're a congresswoman. And now we have bailout mania. We have banks, we have financial institutions, we have insurance companies. Now we have the porn industry and abortion industry that wants to be bailed out. Well, you know what? I think rock legends sometimes go bankrupt. Reverends go bankrupt. Churches go bankrupt. Should we be bailing out everybody?
No, we shouldn't have been bailing out all the people that we did. It was just a year ago, Sean, when we were told we needed to pass a $150 billion stimulus that morphed into $168. Then we went to $29 billion for Bear Stearns. Then from there we went into the savings and loan, on and on, over $1 trillion. So here we are moving into 2009 January. It's more of the same, only steroids. It's like morbid obesity of spending levels, and we aren't going to get any different results.
Congresswoman, let's be fair.
Michele,
let's start with why we need the bailout. The bailout mania followed the deregulation mania that led to the problem in the first place. Had we been regulating business properly, had we been making sure that people were not cooking the books and defrauding the investors and creating the mess that necessitated a bailout, we wouldn't be bailing this. I agree that it's going too far when we get to porno and all. But let's start with the real problem was, we let you talk about lynching. I didn't interrupt you when I wanted to.
I know, but
let me just say, let's start with the fact that had we had government doing what government's supposed to do, protect the citizens, we wouldn't be at this point.
Let me raise this.
But what about the porno industry? Don't you think it's fair that the porno industry gets a bailout?
I don't read
because
I don't
Wall
watch
Street
porn.
got a bailout. I don't care. Wall Street got a bailout. Banks got a bailout. If you give money to the porno industry, at least you know.
Let me ask this question. Let me ask all of you this question. I'm losing control.
If the problem was regulation, then wouldn't the answer be regulate?
What are you going to regulate?
Not throw money out on the table.
That's like saying now let's get a good accountant for Madoff. I mean, there's nothing left to regulate.
You've got a completely different answer for the problem that you came up with.
But Reverend Al, we've got $2 trillion now, and if you want to talk about regulation, Congress that forced banks to lower their standards, to make risky loans. If you can't afford a home, why do you get to buy a home that you're never going to be able to pay back? That's what the Democrats, through redistribution, that was the root cause of all of this.
Maybe I missed something, but I don't think the Democrats was in the majority of Congress when a lot of this started.
The Democrats the Reinvestment Act of 1977.
I mean, I know we're going to rewrite history later. We're going to do it this quickly.
We're going to do it very quickly. As fast as I can. All right, let me move on to another topic if we can.
You should. That one you can't.
No, I actually.
Oh yes, we
Go ahead, Congresswoman.
Well, we need to look just at the example of the 1930s. In the 1930s, we had nearly a 10-year depression. What happened during the 30s? We spent money hand over fist. We regulated. We created big bureaucracy. Kind of sounds like what we're going to do with the current coming administration. And we stayed in a depression. In 1936, FDR gave us the top marginal tax rate of 79%. Is that going to give us stimulus? Is that going to give us prosperity to tax people at 79%?
All right, we got you fixed. Let me ask you a question, because Reverend Al, you had a big rally against the rap industry, and here we have Meatloaf here, and you know what? I don't like the lyrics that refer to women as bees and hoes, and we've had many discussions about this. Then we have hard, heavy metal music, really angry and mean.
They've been censoring music since Gustav Mahler. in Paris.
So you don't want any government involvement?
No, because, okay, with Elvis, take Elvis in the 50s, they wouldn't show him below the waist. They wouldn't play his music on the radio. Censorship is bad at any
Is Reverend Al wrong to go after the companies making money on these?
Look, I don't think he's wrong, but I don't think you need censorship. Bottom line.
I don't either. I do not consider censorship to say to a record company, because I didn't go after rap artists. I wanted the companies that say you can say these things, but you can't say these. You have to have a consistent policy. I also think that people have the right to say, I'm not going to purchase from people that denigrate me and that call me names. You have the right to do it, I have the right not to buy it.
But if you pressure the company, and the company says, no, that's ostensibly silencing them in the end.
No.
If somebody comes after Sean Hannity and says, you know what, we're going after your advertisers, that's just a backdoor type of censorship.
If you say something that offends a gender group or race group, that group has the right to say they do not want to buy from advertisers. That's
We got to run.
Geffen refused to put out the Ghetto Boys record, but turned around and put out all these heavy metal records. I don't think that was fair.
All right, listen, I grew up with you, Meatloaf. I don't know if I want my daughter, when she becomes 14, listening to Paradise by a Dashboard
And
Light.
you tell me why not.
Because I don't want Paradise by the Dashboard Light in her life.
See, I met Tippa Gore, and I thought Tippa Gore was going to be you. But she wasn't. She came running up on stage.
No. I love your music. I did.
Listen, let's be fair. He grew up listening to you, and look what you did to him.
All right, we got more with our panel coming up right after the break, plus my exclusive. And we continue now with our Great American panel. All right, so in 8 days, we have America's first African-American president. Reverend Al, what does this mean for race relations for the country? Does this mean America has transcended many of the racial issues we've had? Does this prove a point I've made for years that I don't think 90% of Americans have racial animus or antipathy?
I think that it proves that America has grown. I think that it proves that a lot of people have got beyond race to the degree that they can vote for an African American to be the head of state. I think that's a good thing. Now I think we need to close the race gap on the bottom. We still have a tremendous race gap in education. We wrote about that this morning in the Wall Street Journal. I think we have it in healthcare and other areas. We should use this to inspire the country that made this big leap at the top to now let's make it at the bottom so it doesn't only change the White House, but it changes all of our houses.
Amen. Amen. I mean, he is absolutely correct about education. Absolutely. I mean, it is...
You know, what bothers me about education, we keep throwing more money at it. Why don't we have choice in education?
We should have choice in education. In Minneapolis, we've got a great example of that. We have a very low performing rate among African Americans, and that's one thing we would like to be able to do is offer true choice. Just like Michele Obama are able to choose private schooling for their girls. A lot of African Americans in Minneapolis, St. Paul can't afford to choose private schools. Wouldn't it be a gift if we could give them $6,000 and say to a single mom in St. Paul, here, choose the school
Let me ask
of
you,
your choice?
you're a Republican congresswoman. Why in almost every election, and this is frustrating to me, because I don't understand it completely, why do African Americans, when you break voting blocks and demographics, why nearly 90% of the African American vote goes Democratic? In your view, why do you think that is? Do you think it can change?
I think it can change, especially I think a lot of what we stand for as conservatives resonates with the African American population. Here's a great example. Look at the last election in California. You had a very high rate of African Americans that voted to preserve the definition of marriage as one man, one woman. We have a lot of commonality with the African American community.
With Proposition 8 and African Americans. The reason why most African Americans have not voted Republican, and as Colin Powell said, they have not come with policies that would advance them. People vote
tax cuts, abortion, school choice.
Republican position. We want a strong economy. We want prosperity. That's the big problem right now with the stimulus package. The
civil rights, all of that is the
package is going to increase
hang on a second.
So much.
No Civil Rights Act, no Voting Rights Act without Republicans and Lyndon Johnson.
And Lyndon Johnson and the Democrats led by Adam Clayton Powell put the legislation through. It did not happen under Republicans. And I think if Republicans want to
putting that legislation
they ought to do something.
I think the reason that the African Americans want to go Democratic dramatic is because the Democrats are continually offering them packages in schooling, and the Republicans continually want to cut spending. And a lot of the spending is in education. And my mother taught school for 25 years, and to me, doctors and teachers are the two most important things.
Republicans believe in smart spending, and we want spending that's going to do something for African American youth.
Public schools have failed. Give everybody a check for what we're spending.
You know what you could do, Sean? You could double the amount that you spend in the Minneapolis school system, and I know that you would see great dramatic increases.
Wouldn't you get better teachers?
We spent today about $15,000 per student. What is enough? If we could give parents that money, and they could choose the school mentors for their kids.
Better qualified teachers if the salary rate went up. The salary for teachers
what would be wonderful is to allow for innovation and to allow choice for
innovation, but equal funding. You can't just give people $6,000.
We're spending more in Minneapolis, St. Paul than we are in any of our suburban schools, and we're getting poorer results out of those schools.
No, you're getting poor results because you're not dealing with an analysis of the proper education.
Burden because they have such high regulatory burden that they have to deal with that it costs so much more money.
We're out of time, but listen.
We want
my daughter cannot listen to Paradise by the Dashboard Light. I'm not.
Completely out of your mind. There's nothing wrong with Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Look, I can give you about 100 songs your daughter shouldn't listen to, but Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Thank you all. One of our first great American panel. When we come back.